The incredible life of the angel of death, Azrael, is a fascinating and profound story that delves deeply into the nature of life, death, and the divine plan set by Allah. Azrael is one of the four greatest angels in Islamic tradition, tasked with the solemn responsibility of taking souls from the world of the living. His duty is one that invokes both fear and reverence in humans, as he is the one who separates the soul from the body when a person's time has come. Despite the chilling nature of his task, the role of Azrael in the grand scheme of existence is much more nuanced and complex than many may initially assume. Azrael is said to look at humanity 366 times each day, an astounding number that reflects his constant awareness of every living soul. He does not necessarily approach every person directly, but his presence is ever watchful, ensuring that the divine plan is carried out for all of creation. It is said that during these 366 moments, Azrael observes not only the physical world but also the lives and destinies of all people. This constant observation is a part of the divine order, ensuring that each life and its eventual end are in harmony with Allah's will. When Azrael was first assigned the duty of taking souls, he was understandably troubled. He feared that humans would resent him, see him as a figure of terror, and hold him responsible for their deaths. In response to his concerns, Allah reassured Azrael, explaining that he would orchestrate various events, such as accidents, illnesses, and natural disasters, that would lead to people's deaths. This would, in turn, prevent anyone from blaming Azrael directly. It is through these incidents that the death process occurs, often without individuals ever knowing that Azrael's hand is behind it. Even though the cause may be an accident or a sickness, the final separation of soul and body is carried out by Azrael, yet the act itself is seen as part of the divine plan, thus sparing Azrael from blame. From a broader perspective, Azrael's role is not one of malice but of mercy. Death is not an end but rather a transition to the afterlife, a chance for the soul to reunite with Allah. This perspective shifts the focus from fear to acceptance. By seeing death as part of a larger journey, we can understand Azrael's task as one that facilitates a smooth transition rather than a cruel severing. The sense of peace in understanding that death is not an arbitrary end, but a passage to the eternal life, can help alleviate the natural fear and sorrow that often accompanies the idea of death. One of the most striking accounts of Azrael's presence comes from the Prophet Muhammad's journey during the Miraj, the miraculous night journey and ascension to the heavens. During this journey, the Prophet encountered Azrael and they had a brief but meaningful conversation. The Prophet greeted Azrael and asked him about his station, to which Azrael replied that he had been stationed in his role since the moment of his creation, and would remain there until the Day of Judgment. The Prophet then inquired about how Azrael could take souls while remaining in the same place. Azrael explained that Allah had granted him the assistance of 5,000 angels who help him with his task. When the time arrives for a person's soul to be taken, 40 of these angels surround the person and begin the delicate process of separating the soul from the body. The process starts from the fingertips, and the person experiences a sense of discomfort and pain as the soul is slowly drawn up toward the throat, where it is eventually released. This description paints a vivid picture of the soul's journey, contrasting how the souls of the righteous are taken gently, while the souls of the wicked may face a more agonizing experience. Azrael also revealed how he knows when a person's time has come. Every soul has two gates in the heavens, one from which sustenance descends and another from which deeds ascend. When a person's time approaches, a leaf with their name on it falls from the tree near the sustenance gate, signaling the end of their time on earth. This divine marking is a sign that the soul's journey is nearing its end, and Azrael prepares to fulfill his duty. Another incredible moment occurred when the Prophet Muhammad requested to see Azrael in his true form. When Azrael revealed himself, his form was so immense that it seemed he could hold the entire world between his two fingers. The sheer magnitude of his form was overwhelming, and the Prophet was so affected by the sight that his heart almost gave out. Many years later, when Prophet Muhammad himself passed away, Azrael appeared in the form of a Bedouin, humbly requesting permission to take the Prophet's soul. This moment was deeply significant, marking the peaceful transition of a prophet of Allah. Azrael's role in this moment was not one of harshness, but one of reverence and respect for the Prophet, In this way, Azrael's task, even in the most poignant moments of life and death, is always carried out with solemnity and grace. The final chapter of Azrael's existence is as equally remarkable as his duty in taking souls. After fulfilling his mission for all of creation, Azrael will be commanded by Allah to lie between heaven and hell and give up his own soul. This moment signifies the ultimate return to Allah, as all of creation, including even the greatest of angels, must eventually face their end. With Azrael's passing, only Allah's eternal sovereignty remains. Azrael, the angel of death, is often perceived as a figure of fear, but his role is ultimately a divine mercy. His duty is not to bring suffering but to facilitate the transition between life and the afterlife. His encounters with the Prophet Muhammad and other prophets demonstrate the profound nature of his task. By viewing death as a natural part of the divine order, we can shift our understanding of Azrael from a harbinger of fear to a figure of respect and understanding in the grand tapestry of life and death. His story is a reminder that while death is inevitable, it is also a passage to something greater, a reunion with the eternal Creator.